So here is the Amazfit Balance 2. Now we've known for a while about the sequel to the original Amazfit Balance since the Chinese version launched already last month. I was able to be a beta tester for the Balance 2, and I've had it for well over a month now. So this is already my long-term review of the Amazfit Balance 2. Given the long period I've owned this watch without being able to post anything about it, I was able to really put it through its paces and, well, I've got a lot to share. Let's jump in. Okay, starting with your unboxing here, you get a pretty decent experience here. That means when you open up your package, you'll be getting your watch body, and you're also going to be getting 2 watch straps. Both straps are silicone. Both buckles are made of a solid feeling metal. The first strap is black with some texture on the outside of the strap. The second strap is lava colored and is definitely the sportier of the two, with a decent bit of material kind of removed to make it lighter and more breathable. You'll get a magnetic charging puck with a USB-C port. Let's move right along to the hardware specs now. Now for hardware, the Amazfit Balance 2 is a 47.4mm watch that is 12.3mm in depth. This is about 1.5mm larger and 1.7mm taller than the original Balance. Here you can see the size compared to the TRX-3, the Active 2, and the recently released Garmin Forerunner 970. The weight of the body is still a pretty light 42 grams, just 7 grams heavier than the original Balance. That is achieved because the case of the watch is fiber reinforced polymer and the frame around that is an aluminum alloy. The display is 1.5 inches, AMOLED up to 2000 nits brightness, 480 by 480 resolution, 323 ppi, and is covered with a sapphire glass touch panel. The battery in the Balance 2 is 658 milliamp hours and can last up to 21 days with typical use. Now, of course, I'll have some real-world battery reports in just a minute. This is an increase from the 475 milliamp hours from the original Balance either way. The sensor in the Balance 2 is the top-of-the-line BioCharge 6.0 PPG biometric sensor. You get all of the expected sensors in a Sportswatch. You're getting acceleration sensor, gyroscope, barometric altimeter, ambient light sensor, temperature sensors. Now for positioning, the Balance 2 uses dual band GPS that connects to 6 different satellite positioning systems, meaning it has all the major systems available for great accuracy, and we're going to put that to the test in a minute as well. The Balance 2 is waterproof to 10 atmospheres, which is a bump up from the 5 atmospheres that the original Balance was rated at, and the Balance 2 has 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, which can be used for music, maps, and now golf courses as well. You get a microphone and 2 speakers. That's right, this is the first watch I know of that sports dual speakers, so calls sound nice and loud, and so does the built-in assistant.
Workout completed. During this workout, distance 10.21 miles.
The watch straps are 22 millimeters in width. Okay, let's talk design next. The design of the Balance 2 is, well, it's very reminiscent of the original Balance with a few welcome refinements and improvements. The bezel of my test unit here is a navy blue that looks like the deep sea blue edition of the original Balance. Now, I'm not sure if this will be just the default color or if Amazfit will have more options ready to go either at launch or shortly afterwards. The coloring is subtle enough though that it looks just fine with whatever color watch strap you choose. It's not a bold blue that kind of catches the eye. Both the bottom button and top digital crown now have some texture to them, and the bottom button of the Balance 2 also has a red accent around it. Now before we go too much further, let's cover the pricing. In the US, the Balance 2 will carry an MSRP of $299. This puts it much higher than the first Balance model and just above the TRX-3 in price point. Now, being as the Balance 2 hardware-wise is very much on par with the TRX-3 with, a microphone thrown in as well, it's not too surprising to see this watch reside in the high end of the Amazfit product lineup. Moving along to the UI here, if you've seen previous Amazfit watches, the UI of Zepp OS 5.0, which is launching with the Balance 2, will seem very familiar. A swipe to or from the right or left gets you to your widget carousel that includes shortcut cards that have plenty of different metrics you can look at, and you can add whatever you'd like there as well. A swipe downward from the top gets you to your control center with some important toggles available. A swipe upward gets you to your notifications from your phone. A push on the lower button pulls up an app list, and a push on the digital crown pulls up your activity list. There's over 170 activities now that you can track on the Balance 2. Some features there include fully structured High Rocks workouts, being as Amazfit is the official sports watch of High Rocks. You also get golf as a newly introduced activity on the Balance 2. We'll go into that more in just a moment. Now, as a watch rated to 10 atmospheres, the Balance 2 has both indoor and outdoor free diving modes as well. Then there's all the normal things you'd expect, like various running, swimming, cycling activities, and all the odd ones that you'd like to track, just in case you're wondering the training load of your recent chess matches. Now, a few UI highlights are the ability to program long press of the top button and whatever you want to press for your bottom button in the preferences section of settings. Alternatively, you can enable button mode and accessibility section of settings to make the bottom button essentially a back button. And on the home screen, it will still bring up your app list. And you can palm the screen to turn off the display. You can tap to wake, whether you have always on display on or off. There really are a lot of customization options here, but I won't keep going so this video isn't a full hour long. Okay, moving on to the performance of the Balance 2. So we're going to break this up into two sections here. The first is going to be about battery life. So I use my watches for a lot of sporting activity, so please keep that in mind with the information we're about to review. So with always on display on, I got just under 5 days of battery life, 4 days and 20 hours to be precise, to go from 100 down to 5%. During that 4 days, I logged 4 runs at a hair under 6 hours of time on the road, and therefore GPS time, of course. I did 1 strength training session of 40 minutes, did some laps in the pool for 20 minutes. So we got a total of 6 activities over basically 5 days with a total of about 7 hours. Now with the always on display off using the raise to wake, I got pretty much exactly 1 week's worth of time. At exactly 1 week, I went down from 100% down to 7%. Now I kept very busy during that week. I did a flexibility session of 20 minutes, 2 strength training sessions totaling an hour, 20 minutes of laps in the pool, 20 minutes on a rowing machine, 45 minutes on an indoor bike, a half hour playing pickleball, and also 7 outdoor runs totaling 7 hours, 15 minutes. And a mile walked at about 20-minute mile for good measure. So a total of 7.5 hours of GPS activities. And that's a grand total of just under 11 hours of activity tracking. So obviously the display is on during that period. So overall, I'd say the battery life is pretty good with the Balance 2. I know those numbers sound way lower than some of the advertised durations on a charge, but I mean, the amount that I'm using it, it's about what I would expect. Lots of those estimations have much less activity time, so that explains the discrepancy between the numbers. But I don't see anything that is kind of off base with what I would expect. Okay, so moving on to charging now. So the Balance 2 charged up from 5% up to 80% in exactly 40 minutes. So 80 is probably about where you'd want to stop if you're kind of charging up basically anything on a lithium ion battery. So if you want it to be quick and efficient, up to 80, that's the way to go. But I did go all the way for science, and it took an additional 35 minutes to get it up to 100%. So a total of an hour, 15 minutes to go from 5% up to 100% charge. Now moving on to the actual performance of the Balance 2 during sport activities, as I mentioned, this watch uses the BioCharge 6.0, which at this point in time is a pretty proven sensor, as it was also included in the TRX 3 and the Active 2. Now I use the Balance 2 during a lot of activities, so I'll try to hit on a few highlights to give you a sense of how it performs. Okay, the first run that we're looking at here is just a steady state run. It was a recovery, kind of slow paced run. The only real deviations I put in was actually stopping to get water at a water fountain. So no intense intervals here. So that the first one's right here, and the second one I actually paused the activity right here. But other than that, we're looking at really consistent readings here between the Forerunner 970 and the Balance 2. And these are both just using the heart rate sensor on the wrist. There's no chest strap or anything with the Forerunner. So looking pretty consistent. If anything, the Balance 2 is like a beat or two lower than the Forerunner, but I mean, everything's looking extremely consistent in how it's measuring, so it's just a discrepancy of I mean, it looks like between 3 and 4 beats per minute. So nothing too crazy here. Let's go on to cadence. Okay, moving on to the cadence here, this is extremely similar. These are very close readings within like 1 step per minute or so. And, you know, so we're going on, this is Elevate Gen 5 against the BioTracker 6.0. And I mean, they're pretty much spot on. They're reading the same thing. You can see here when I stopped to get some water, and again, both picked it up just perfect. And this is where I stopped the activity and got water, and they just kind of handle it a little differently. All right, let's take a look at GPS. Okay, so taking a look at the GPS here, I mean, the tracks are really like right on top of each other. There's nothing of note here, really. We're looking, you know, going down the road one way, coming back the other. I mean, everything's on top of each other. It looks good. I did notice there's a couple little deviations here. This where, honestly right here, I can't tell exactly which one is wandering slightly, but it's extremely slight. And there's one other up here. So this is the only one where the balance 2 kind of loses things for some reason. Just knowing how I ran, this is, you know, I ran that a bit wide. I didn't juke and jive there. But overall, I mean, they're right on top of each other. Everything's looking great. Okay, next activity we're going to look at is strength training. So doing some weightlifting here, and this is actually the balance 2 against the Forerunner 970, but I'm using the HRM 600 heart rate strap. So this is wrist-based optical heart rate sensor going against ECG-based chest strap, and this is probably the best looking wrist-based optical heart rate sensor versus an ECG strap I've seen maybe ever. I don't want to be too dramatic here, but this is picking things up fantastically well. So the Balance 2 is in blue, the HRM 600 is in purple, and I mean, yeah, there's some small misses here, right? Like, but I mean, just look at this. It's picking up the rises, picking up the little dips. And again, you might say, oh, it's not really matching it, but for strength training, if you've seen some of my other videos where I compare strength training, a lot of times the wrist-based optical heart rate sensor just like crashes and burns, like to be blunt, particularly against an ECG chest strap. I mean, this is extremely impressive because you're gripping a lot. You're gripping a lot, which makes it very difficult. Your heart rate is spiking up, dropping down very rapidly. And again, I know a lot of people don't care about what their heart rate is when they're lifting weights, but this is just putting the sensor in a very difficult environment and seeing how it performs. And here it's performing well above expectations. Okay, so we wanted to do a challenging run here. We wanted to really put it to the test. So this is actually fit files from a recent trail race I did. So this is a 16-mile trail race I did. So we're dealing with tree coverage. In a racing environment, there's lots of twists and turns on these trails. So it was pretty tough from a GPS standpoint. Heart rate, honestly, it was just high the whole time. When you look at these averages, this is not incorrect. The Balance 2 has me at 180, and this is a Forerunner 970 with the HRM 600 ECG heart rate strap at 181. So yeah, my heart rate was through the roof for over 2 hours. Luckily, I survived that. But if you take a look at how closely the Balance 2 is matching up against the ECG-based heart rate strap, this is amazing. I see like 1 drop-off, 2 drop-off, maybe 3 drop-offs in over 2 hours of racing here. And if you look at the averages, we're at 180.4 for the Balance 2, 181.2 for the HRM 600. So not even a 1 BPM difference from the top-of-the-line ECG heart rate strap from Garmin. That's pretty amazing. Now, if we move on to cadence here, so here I do see some kind of funkiness going on, and I mean, you could definitely see there's spots where it spikes up for whatever reason, versus the Forerunner kind of staying steady here. So I'd say there's a little bit off, and right here, this actually I dropped my little garbage bag that I put my gels in after I used them. I was not going to leave that on the trail. So I actually did stop there and pick up my garbage bag. But hey man, you hike out what you bring in. Okay, taking a look at the GPS here, this is pretty impressive. So again, some of this had some openings and some fields. A lot of it was under tree cover, and you could see here, like this is all under tree cover, and it's extremely close. Yeah, like they kind of drift a little bit, but again, one's on one wrist, one's on the other, so you'd kind of expect a little bit of separation there. But they're all pretty much the same. This isn't anything where I'd say, you know, one loses the trail in any way. And here's some little turns there, and again, like even some more precise turns. You know, this is where the trail is on the map, but the actual trail, I'm sure, is right here. Here running along the road. I mean, this is extremely good. The Balance 2 kept up admirably well with the Elevate Gen 5 sensor. Very good stuff here. So the Balance 2 comes with Zepp OS 5 installed, and that brings a few new features, with the three biggest being advanced running analytics, golf, and BioCharge. So let's start with advanced running analytics. You get wrist-based ground contact time as well as vertical oscillation. If I take a look at how those metrics compared on a recent run where I used a Balance 2 alongside a Garmin Forerunner 970 with an HRM 600 heart rate strap, you can see my vertical ratio on the Garmin was 7.7% with a 9 centimeter oscillation. The Balance 2 had that as a 6.6% and 6.9 centimeter oscillation. For ground contact time, Garmin read me at 274 milliseconds, while the Balance 2 had me at 296 milliseconds. I say that the Balance 2 does a respectable job to produce usable metrics for a single wrist-based sensor. I also do think that these two metrics in particular can inform a bit about your running form, so I do think they're a solid addition to the Balance 2 and help legitimize it as an actual training tool. So let's move along and tackle golf next. So you can load thousands of different golf courses onto the Balance 2. The process is pretty simple. It's kind of reminiscent of loading up maps. You go to the device section, you select golf, then you're going to search for the city or town that the golf course is in. You don't type in the name of the golf course. Once you find the right course, you just sync it on over to your watch and you're ready to hit the links. So yeah, to be as thorough as possible, I actually got on the golf course for the first time in about 2 years, and well, you can see what happened here. Let's see, go onto the watch, 27 yards. Son of a bitch. Okay, I'm not happy with that. I'm just a decent chip shot away from a par still, even though I sliced the heck out of that last one. So first of all, the course was, of course, absolutely spot on. I didn't have any concerns there. All the layouts were correct and everything was good. I was checking distances to the green against my friend's Apple Watch and his actual rangefinder, and found that I was always within a few yards of either of them, which seemed like an acceptable level of accuracy. Now, as you're playing golf with the Balance 2, after each hole you can log your score along with how many penalty shots you took and how many putts you took. So you're getting a few basic analytics as you're tracking your round. And afterwards in the app you can see your scores and a few details about the round. Overall, this is a solid addition for Amazfit and a nice feature to have on the Balance 2 to really make it stand apart from other models. Let's now tackle another big new feature that's shipping with the Balance 2, and that's BioCharge. If you haven't heard about BioCharge yet, this is taking the place of Readiness Score as the marquee energy analytic. And BioCharge differs from Amazfit's current Readiness Score because it updates throughout the day, getting charged up from sleeping and napping while depleting from activities and day-to-day life. Yes, this is very similar to Garmin's body battery. This feature only got added to the Balance 2 less than a week ago, so it wasn't there for the majority of my testing, but I will say that once it was added, I had a few hard days and rough nights. You can see the level of workouts I fit into my days whenever I can. We'll add to that having an infant, a toddler, a full-time job, and whatever else my day may bring, and my activity level is very high. My infant and toddler can also contribute to pretty poor sleep scores. Basically, I put BioCharge to the test to see if it would be as lenient as the Ready score had historically been, and I can confirm that it is most definitely not. I bottomed out my BioCharge more than once with bad sleep and long runs. I can confidently say that the factors listed for BioCharge, which are nighttime sleep, daytime rest, heart rate variability, resting heart rate, and activity level, do have a drastic effect on your charging and discharging of your BioCharge. This isn't like readiness where you could party all night, crash your HRV, spike your heart rate, and groggily roll out of bed, and the lowest you're going is a 75 readiness score, and you'll get a positive message that you're ready to tackle the day. So this is a much more valuable metric than readiness if you're looking to use it for guidance throughout your day. Okay, so this part of the review covers some of my own personal likes and dislikes after using a watch for an extended period. They could be overarching features, or they could just be little pet peeves. Let's start off with some dislikes on the Balance 2. For the watch itself, I'll say the display does get smudged up by fingerprints rather easily. I found this is the case for most Amazfit watches with a sapphire lens. It was definitely whatever material they're using or coating they put on, whatever it is. You can definitely just wipe it off with a shirt and it's fine, but it's there. Now, for an Amazfit wide dislike would be the process of getting a route onto your watch. So you do have offline mapping, but you cannot create a route on the Zepp app. And instead you need to source your GPX file elsewhere, then share that from whatever app or wherever you've gotten it from into the Zepp app, and then from there sync it over into the watch. So yes, you have your offline maps, you have your routes, but they're not super easy or intuitive. You have to really kind of know what you're doing to take advantage of that feature, and it's a great feature to have. So during an activity, the standard setting requires a crown rotation for an unlock, and that can sometimes get you stuck in the wrong selection on the menu that'll come up, as the rotation that you use to wake up the watch will also start rotating through the different options. So you have to be careful to not end your activity or something like that. In the same vein, the touch sensitivity of the display seems a bit high when going through lists. I don't have the glove mode on. That's a new feature in Zepp OS 5. Don't have that on, just standard, but it's pretty sensitive. So you could swipe through the list very quickly with a nice smooth animation. So it looks great. But when you're actually trying to get to a particular app and you're doing it with the touch screen, it can be frustrating because you can pass by it like up and down and whatever. Now, I also wish there were some more integrations with training apps. While I know the Balance 2 isn't necessarily a focused running watch, having integrations with platforms like Training Peaks or Runna, or having some way of importing structured workouts would help legitimize the watch as a serious training tool. Now finally, and this is for all Amazfit watches, as someone located in the US, there is no tap to pay feature available to me. I know it's all region specific, so it goes under pet peeve. It affects me, not everyone. Okay, it sounds like there's a lot of things to dislike, but honestly, I don't dislike the watch. Let's get into some likes now. Okay, I'll start with the fact that I love the TRX3. It was my first Amazfit watch, and I really like the display, the functionality, the features for the price. It's great, but it's also an octagon. And it doesn't have a mic. So I think the biggest like for me on the Balance 2 is that this watch delivers that comprehensive Amazfit experience, but does it in an even more complete manner since you get a mic here. And I just personally like the aesthetics of the Balance 2 more so than the TRX3. I don't mind rugged watches, but the octagon was a little bit too far for me. The Balance 2 has a design that can look a bit more mature and sophisticated, so it can fit into an environment outside of a sporting environment. The speakers on the Balance 2 are pleasantly loud. Having two of them, of course, helps with that. You can easily make out calls that you take on your wrist over Bluetooth, and you can hear the lap updates while running. I always like to mention the Amazfit approach to strength training, where the last set can easily be edited during the entirety of the rest period. And speaking of workouts, creating structured workouts is fairly simple once you get the hang of them. So while you can't import an entire training program, you can make your own workouts pretty easily once you get the hang of it. Okay, this is already a long one, so let's wrap it up here. After over a month with the Balance 2, I could confidently say that this is a great sports watch for most people. As with many of Amazfit's offering, that value to feature ratio is extremely good. You're getting good battery life, a fast processor, a mic and a speaker, a bright display, plenty of storage, offline maps, dual band GPS, a sapphire lens, and even smaller inclusions like something just like a second watch strap. Just make this a really good value. I would say that the Balance 2 pushes to an even higher level with the inclusion of the Zepp OS 5 features, advanced running metrics, golfing, and the introduction of BioCharge. I know that this watch comes in at the higher end of Amazfit's lineup, but being as it delivers so much for the price, I think that if you're an all-around active person that engages in a variety of exercises, wants to track them all, and you want a watch that can both look premium and perform well, that the Balance 2 should be a strong consideration for you. So what do you think? Does the Balance 2 check all the boxes for you? Is there anything missing from this watch that would prevent you from considering it? Did I miss covering any important features that would help you decide if you would want the Balance 2 or not? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for hanging with me today. I'm Dave, and this is Dave Does Fitness. Have an awesome day and stay fit.